All right, so good afternoon, Johnsburg Wildcats families and friends. I'm Dr. Pierce, our principal.
I'm Nikki Brosh, one of our social workers.
So we're trying something new this year. We're calling this segment A Parent's Peek. And what we're going to do here each week on Monday afternoon, we want to send home a video that just kind of talks about the previous week. Within that, we're going to look at SEL, PBIS. Mrs. Brosh will kind of explain a little bit about what that is. But then I also want to talk about some things that are hitting our school, some things we want parents to be aware of, because we really want to have that partnership between the school and the families, so that way we really can do what's best for our students. So I do want to start off with celebrations. Last week was great. We had our homecoming week. The students were well behaved. We got to see the parade. It was just a really great activity. With PBIS, students earned points. We hit over 50,000 for a school, so they get their first reward in our PBIS study hall classes. So there's a lot to celebrate here at school. But there's also some things that we really want you to help out at home. So some of the areas that we're seeing behaviorally that's really ticking up is just the language that the students are using. Right now, racism, racial terms are being used amongst friends this year. And we just really want to inform our students that it's not appropriate, it's not okay. And I know when we have conversations with students, oftentimes it's I'm joking or I'm kidding, and they might not know what they're saying is offensive. So that is something that if you can also help join us and speak with your students about just using racism or using terms that are sexual in nature. We need to make sure that we're using terms appropriately. We need to make sure we're not being offensive to people. Also, we're seeing students using the term KYS, which is kill yourself. We've had several students say this to their friends. It's just not okay. And like I said before, we could really use your support at home to talk to your students. And if you are hearing that your student is being bullied or is being picked on, that you report it to us. Because it's not tolerated here. So those are some of the really big areas that we really want to focus on from the last week that we're seeing an uptick in those behaviors. But like I said, there's a lot of positives here at school, but there are some poor choices, and that's where we could really use your help. So thank you for that. Like I said, I'm so glad that we're able to partner with our families just to make this an overall better school experience for all of our students. So we really appreciate that. So I want to turn it over to Mrs. Brosh, who's going to talk a little bit about SEL and PBIS.
So a couple of the things that we do here at school to help kind of combat some of the negative behaviors that are going on is we have a PBIS system, and that stands for Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports. Did I get that right?
That is correct.
Okay. And so the kids all have point systems on their computer. They earn points for positive behaviors. And then we do a lot of reminder videos about different expectations that we have, because if we're not teaching those, how do the students know those? So after we wrap up here, we're going to put in our PBIS segment from the week on this video as well, so you can reinforce the same behaviors that we're talking about here at school at home, which would be super duper helpful. The other thing that we're doing here at school is Miss Grinchuk, the other social worker, and myself, we go to every single fourth hour classroom and we provide a social emotional lesson in SEL. So this last week, what we talked about self-advocacy and how do we go about asking for help from teachers when we need help, and also standing up for ourselves and our friends if someone is saying something or doing something that we don't like. So any sort of support you guys can give at home and kind of reinforcing those ideas would be amazing. You're also going to have on the end of this video our Calming Corner video that we put out each week. And that's just an emotional vocabulary word tied with some coping skills and a motivational quote. Just so we're really helping our students to expand their emotional vocabulary, because the more we're able to talk about our emotions, the easier it is for us to get help on them. We really hope that this information is helpful to you. We really want to work together. Please always feel comfortable reaching out. We're also hoping that these videos get you guys more familiar with us here at school.
So as we mentioned, thank you again. These videos will come out every Monday afternoon. As always, please reach out, email, phone call, stop by and say hi. There's so many awesome things going on here at Johnsburg Junior High School. But in any situation, there's also some things we need to work on. So again, thank you for your help and support. And like our motto is this year for our students, it's own it, accept it, and change it. And we really appreciate all you do for us. So on behalf of Mrs. Brosh and myself, have a great day, and we'll see you next week.
Barrett. Hi, Mrs. Barrett. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Do you like Johnsburg so far?
You know, I'm loving it here. I feel
I'm
so welcome.
So sorry, I almost ran into you.
That's okay. You know, at my old school, we were really focused on walking on the right side of the hallway.
Oh, yeah, because I'm on the left.
Ooh.
You're on the right, so you're in the right. I'm on the left, so I'm in the wrong right now.
Yeah, you know, it just helps things run smooth, like cars on a street.
Oh.
Yeah. I even noticed, you know, maybe you guys are so used to seeing these here, but I've noticed that you have these posters reminding you about hallway expectations all over the school.
Yeah.
One of them is safety, so just watch where you're going.
I think I'll do that next time. I'm so sorry I almost ran into you.
No problem. Good
Cool.
to see you.
All right.
Hi Wildcats! Today we're going to be talking about the feeling of being guilty. Sometimes we make poor choices. Sometimes we hurt other people. And then afterwards we get a little upset about it. We have some feelings about it. Sometimes we get really mad at ourselves. And I don't know about you, but for me, when I'm mad at myself, that's the hardest person to be mad at. Guilt can be a really hard feeling to manage. It can get really overwhelming very quickly. And I know a lot of you guys who struggle with this. So if you're feeling guilty, some things you can do is you could go ahead and write a letter to whoever it is that you hurt, or write down whatever it is you're feeling mad about. Don't think you have to send it. A lot of times just getting those thoughts out on paper can be really helpful. Another great thing to do is go get some physical activity. Go on a nice long walk, go for a run, dance it out, whatever you like to do. Sometimes we need to get those feelings out of our bodies. Guilt can be a really challenging feeling for us to process. So taking the time to talk to someone about it and work through those feelings that you have and asking for help is another great way to deal with it. Bill Watterson, he's the guy who wrote Calvin and Hobbes, said, "There's no problem so awful that you can't add some guilt to it and make it even worse." Sometimes our guilt can get really overwhelming. So if you're feeling bad about something, it's probably time to deal with it. Have a great day.